ṣọ̀tá o ẹni retí rí lè jí pa. Òjò ní wá a ò bẹ́nìkan ṣọ̀tá o ẹni retí rí lè jí pa. Ó ti dá mi lójú pé ẹni bínú wa èmi roko síbi àti jẹ tó bá roko síbi àti jẹ èmi pọ́n mi síbi àti mu tó bá pọ́n mi síbi àti mu èmi mọ̀nà tó máa gbà. Òjò ní wá a ò bẹ́nìkan ṣọ̀tá o ẹni retí rí lè jí pa. Òjò ní wá a ò bẹ́nìkan ṣọ̀tá o ẹni retí rí lè jí pa. Ó ti dá mi lójú pé ẹni bínú wa èmi roko síbi àti jẹ tó bá roko síbi àti jẹ.
All right, ladies and gents, I'm sure you'll be wondering, what are these guys always up to? Exactly what it is, your life on Mainland 98.3 FM. Because today is Throwback Thursday, and every single song you'd hear on the station today are going to be songs of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and maybe early 20s. Songs that Agbatomi would certainly struggle to understand some of the lyrics. And I started out with Ojoniwa. This song had been ringing in my head all through the day, and I told myself that is exactly what we're going to open the show with today. Hey, it's Sport Cruise. And then in case you're tuning in for the first time, it's Mainland 98.3 FM. And I can tell you for a fact that this is the #1 drive time sports show on radio in the city of Lagos. If you find anywhere else, come talk to us about that. We'll take you through the world of sport. Games that were decided yesterday in the English Premier League. Manchester City, first win in 8 games, 6 losses and 1 draw. And then they made a mincemeat of Nottingham Forest yesterday. And of course, Manchester United, as predicted, struggled to get anything on board against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. 2-0 it ended. And ladies and gentlemen, there's also Real Madrid. They lost yesterday. As always, Kylian Mbappe lost a penalty yesterday. There's so much to talk about on the show today. Liverpool, hey, I think I should give my flowers yesterday. I predicted that Liverpool were going to drop points against Newcastle, and they were very close to winning that game until, I don't know what got into their goalkeeper, and decided to have a promo. They play Everton this weekend, and trust me, Everton will look for every available cross to put it in there to make sure that Gallagher unsettles himself. Hey, it was 3-3. It ended yesterday at St. James's Park. And so, 2 points taken of Liverpool by Manchester City, by Chelsea that won 5-1 away from home at Southampton yesterday, and of course Arsenal are winning Manchester United by 2-0. I don't get to run this show alone. I've got my 2 winged men, of course, playing from the left and to the right. There's Akintayo and there's also Agbatomi. Akintayo, he's a Barcelona fan, and with Real Madrid lost yesterday, Barcelona, even if Madrid wins the outstanding game, they still got the edge over Real Madrid. For Akintayo, for Agbatomi rather, it's 2 points dropped, but more points gained for Mohamed Salah. 2 goals yesterday, just in a world of his own, getting all of those things done. 15 goals and 12 assists already in the Premier League this season, and you think he should not ask for 4-year deal with the addition with another one even after those 4 years. Talk about all of that on the show today. Once again, you are welcome. Well, Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, February 2022 in Saudi Arabia, there's going to be a rematch. But what happens to Anthony Joshua from here? If Tyson Fury loses that game, he's probably going to be on the books for or with Anthony Joshua. Well, I don't know if we're going to enjoy it right now, but would I have wanted to see both of them fight now? I don't think so. I think I would have wanted to see both of them fight when they were at the top of their game. Whether probably would have been the biggest fight in the history of British boxing. Akintayo is here. There's also Agbatomi. Guys, it's Thursday. I mean, there's so much.
You know, just easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Lemon squeezy.
You know, as a Barcelona fan,
As a Barcelona fan without a phone.
Regardless, that's see, even without phone or with phone, it does not take anything from the fact that Real Madrid decided to
Umi!
Well, I still maintain
calm down.
I still maintain my position that Ojoniwa Ogbeni Konshota, just like what Laporta said before, after Real Madrid signed them Mbappe, that it's going to be that Real Madrid are actually going to upset their lineup, and we can see what's actually happening. And I read a piece where Van der Vaart was talking about the similarities between Mbappe and Ronaldo, and he made mention of the fact that when Ronaldo came into Real Madrid, he was allowed to take all the set pieces, the free kicks, the penalties. Now Mbappe is not allowed to do so. If there's Vinicius in the field of play, he can't take the penalty ahead of him. And when you have things like that, regardless of how it might be or might look, when he was in PSG, he was the biggest star. But when he is at Real Madrid, he's one of many. And when you are one of many, it means that you have to work twice as you were doing previously. He lost a penalty yesterday. He could have had a different connotation in the game had the goal be scored. But guess what? His blushes were saved by Bellingham, and Real Madrid lost the game against Athletic Bilbao, and that's the first Bilbao win against Real Madrid in 9 years. And I don't know how we forgot to make mention of that game yesterday, because that's a very tough game. As much as they've not had the win, but as San Mamés has always been a difficult stadium. That's why it's called the Cathedral. It has been a difficult stadium for anyone, not just Barcelona, not just Real Madrid, to go in there and pick up an easy 3 points. That's always been a difficult one. And for Manchester City, kudos to one getting the win. If Wood had scored the goal, it would have been a different conversation. But Wood fluffed his lines, and we saw Grealish playing more central, similar to what we saw him during the Aston Villa days. He came into the game. De Bruyne was sharp as usual. Gundogan was also sharp. Bernardo. It just felt like they just needed that fresh air, and they got that fresh air. And for Amorim, I made mention yesterday that Arsenal, they needed this win more than Manchester United.
And they got it.
Manchester United, they controlled the game. Arsenal were surprised by what they saw in the first half. But when the second half came in, when they started raining those crosses, you cannot play away, and you know how Arsenal is, and you concede over 9 corners. And you know that their
13 corners and 0 for Manchester United.
Yes, and you know that their corners are similar to penalties. A great win for Arsenal, even though the tactical genius of Amorim was able to nullify the Odegaard and Sakas of this world. But Arsenal used their one valuable weapon. And as for Liverpool, oh my goodness, Agbatomi, I'll leave you to do the honors.
No, I mean, I have nothing to say against that, because you always have that feeling that that run could be halted at some point.
They felt like it would not.
It's against Liverpool. It's going against Newcastle. I mean, Newcastle lost their last home game against West Ham United.
I'm still finding it difficult to understand why the referee had to blow the whistle exactly on the 5 minutes mark, despite the
team was attacking.
Despite out of the 5 minutes that was being added into that game, only 1 minute and 54 seconds was the ball in play. There were 2 VAR checks for the penalty against Liverpool and also for the penalty against Newcastle. I have no idea why the referee decided not to give that counter a benefit of doubt. But kudos to Newcastle. They fought really hard. They started the game on fire. Liverpool could not even get anything together in the first half. In the second half, they came out stronger. They got an early goal. The manager brought in Alexander-Arnold, took 1 or 2, and he got an assist yesterday. And we saw, and perhaps Nunes could have done better. It was a bit wasteful. We saw Gakpo getting into his strides, and we saw Luis Diaz coming in. He was unable to do much, and I have no idea what Keller was doing. Perhaps maybe the
exceptional for Liverpool.
Probably maybe he needed
Real Madrid.
Probably he needed that check. Maybe after getting that check, maybe he would realize, because when you look at it, that was a failure.
Agbatomi, I can tell you we're due for break. One would come back. I know that Agbatomi will probably want to defend what happened yesterday, but hey, it's a check on slots. It's lost to Nottingham Forest, at home is draw point again away from home at
St. James's Park.
And then he plays the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park this weekend.
Yeah.
Because from next season, Everton will be moving
until
into
lunchtime
their new
kickoff.
stadium. It's an early kickoff that could
Soft
be
touching.
absolutely tricky. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Let's quickly pay some bills.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
Started your day with a click. Devices in hand working swiftly. With every click comes a risk inside. And one day they all shut down. But the HMS is the answer. HMO for your devices. With your e-card, you get premium services. The HMS everywhere you go.
Get DHMS, the HMO for your devices from IT Service Desk Africa, the first subscription-based device health support service in Nigeria. Enjoy comprehensive IT and roaming support, data security, and maintenance of all your devices. Call 070-799-35788 or visit itservicedeskafrica.com to get started.
àti pé fún ìdíkòwò mẹ́fà tí mo ti ní mo ní àǹfààní ẹyọ kan sí i.
Ewu lẹ gbé ṣírò lè báyìí.
mo ń ṣe òǹkàyé tí mo lè ní nínú ìdíkòwò bílíọ̀nù márùn-ún ni nítorí FBN Holdings ìtẹ́pẹpẹ ìdíkòwò fún àwọn tó jẹ́ onípín ìdíkòwò wọn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. èyí já sí pé àwọn tó ti ní ìpín wọn lọ́wọ́ báyìí ní àǹfààní láti ní ìpín kan sí i lórí ìpín mẹ́fà tí wọ́n ti ní. ní ìpín ọjọ́ ọ̀la pẹ̀lú FBN Holdings ìpín ìdókòwò yìí ìdókòwò bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ kẹrin oṣù kọkànlá di ọjọ́ kejìlá oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2024. ọ̀sán àwọn olùṣòwò ìpín ìdíkòwò rẹ tàbí ẹ̀ka ilé ìfowópamọ́ First Bank bákan náà ni o lè ra ìpín rẹ lórí First Mobile app rẹ. FBN Holdings ní ìpín nínú ọjọ́ ọ̀la.
Hey there! Yes, you! You just won 5,000 Naira cash! And you, sitting by the side, there's 1 month Showmax subscription to watch the Premier League waiting for you! You behind! Of course! You're not left out! How does 1,000 Naira airtime and 2,000 Naira Uber discount sound? All this could come true when you buy the No Unwrap and Win pack. Open it, look for a cube with a 6-digit code on its wrapper, text the code to 8011 and follow the prompts to stand a chance to win any of these instant prizes. Promo valid from July till December. Terms and conditions apply. Get extra value on the No Unwrap and Win pack. No, eat for good.
For every 6 shares I hold, I get one more.
What are you doing?
I am counting the numbers I get from over 5 billion shares. FBN Holdings is giving existing shareholders the chance to buy more shares at 25 Naira each. This means that you can get one new one for every 6 you own. Don't miss out. Own a share of tomorrow with FBN Holdings rights issue. The offer opens from the 4th November to 12th December 2024. Visit your stockbroker or any First Bank branch to get started. You can also access the offer directly on your First mobile banking app. FBN Holdings. Own your share of tomorrow.
Hey there! Yes, you! You just won 5,000 Naira cash! And you, sitting by the side, there's 1 month Showmax subscription to watch the Premier League waiting for you! You behind! Of course! You're not left out! How does 1,000 Naira airtime and 2,000 Naira Uber discount sound? All this could come true when you buy the No Unwrap and Win pack. Open it, look for a cube with a 6-digit code on its wrapper, text the code to 8011 and follow the prompts to stand a chance to win any of these instant prizes. Promo valid from July till December. Terms and conditions apply. Get extra value on the No Unwrap and Win pack. No, eat for good.
You started your day with a click. Devices in hand working swiftly. With every click comes a risk inside. And one day they all shut down. But the HMS is the answer. HMO for your devices. With your e-card, you get premium services. The HMS everywhere you go.
Get DHMS, the HMO for your devices from IT Service Desk Africa, the first subscription-based device health support service in Nigeria. Enjoy comprehensive IT and roaming support, data security, and maintenance of all your devices. Call 070-799-35788 or visit it7desafrica.com to get started.
àti pé fún ìdíkòwò mẹ́fà tí mo ti ní mo ní àǹfààní ẹyọ kan sí i.
Ewu lẹ gbé ṣírò lè báyìí.
mo ń ṣe òǹkàyé tí mo lè ní nínú ìdíkòwò bílíọ̀nù márùn-ún ni nítorí FBN Holdings ìtẹ́pẹpẹ ìdíkòwò fún àwọn tó jẹ́ onípín ìdíkòwò wọn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ èyí já sí pé àwọn tó ti ní ìpín wọn lọ́wọ́ báyìí ní àǹfààní láti ní ìpín kan sí i lórí ìpín mẹ́fà tí wọ́n ti ní ìpín ọjọ́ ọ̀la pẹ̀lú FBN Holdings. ìpín ìdókòwò yìí ìdókòwò bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ kẹrin oṣù kọkànlá di ọjọ́ kejìlá oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2024. kàn sáwọn olùṣòwò ìpín ìdíkòwò rẹ tàbí ẹ̀ka ilé ìfowópamọ́ First Bank bákan náà ni o lè ra ìpín rẹ lórí First Mobile app rẹ. FBN Holdings ní ìpín nínú ọjọ́ ọ̀la.
Nostalgic feeling on radio. Introducing classic hits from way back.
Hello, my name is Godwin Enoch and I'm a broadcast journalist. Yes, my friend will tell me that I am a sport administrator by accident. Listen every day of the weekday to Sports Cruise on Mainland FM. God bless you.
olómi jọ̀wọ́ ò jẹ́ ká jọ máa gbádùn àyà tó mọ yá yìí ló ń ṣe kẹ́ ọkọ rẹ̀ ẹlẹ́gàn bá ń tàn ẹ́ kó má máa ṣe gbà ó. ìdùnnú ńlá ní fọ́kọ káyà kó mọ̀ kẹ́ ọkọ oríire ló jẹ́ fáyà tó bá mọ̀ kẹ́ ọkọ o ó ní tèmi ò àyà bí kẹ́mi gbọ́ tèmi o. Tèmi ó bèbí gbọ́ tèmi o olólùfẹ́ o jẹ́ ká jọ.
So because we're in the season of celebration, of course, it's December, and today is the 5th day of December. So we've got 20 more days before Christmas. So everything you get to hear on the show will bring some level of dynamism and uniqueness, because this is Milan 98.3 FM, and we have the right, exclusive, to do whatever we want to do from Monday to Friday, 6 to 7 p.m., because it's sports and cruise, just like you have sport jams from 12:15 to 1 p.m. every Monday, all through Friday as well. So welcome back to the studio. Well, we'll take the result of games that were decided yesterday. Other games also tonight in the English Premier League. There are games for Tottenham Hotspur. But again, let's quickly look at yesterday's result. Everton defeated Wolves by 4-0. And that is Everton's. It's almost like the 4 goals Manchester United collected from them, and they collected it back from Manchester United. So 4-0 in favor of Everton in that one. Manchester City returned to winning ways after 7 games with 6 losses and a draw. Well, they defeated Nottingham Forest yesterday by 3-0. Kevin De Bruyne got a goal and an assist, and of course he was the man of the match in that game. Jeremy Doku was a constant thorn in the flesh of the Nottingham Forest defense, and of course Bernardo Silva also opened the scoring for Manchester City. Well, 3-0 it ended in favor of Manchester City. Newcastle and Liverpool 3-3, a classic Premier League game for the night. Those games are not enjoyed for early kickoffs. Those games are not even Saturday games. Those games are proper chilly Tuesday night fixtures, and we saw classic goals yesterday. The goal that was scored by Mohamed Salah was one for the books. And
The
should
first
we
one or
even
the
talk
second
about, I'm talking about the second one,
Yeah, the depth touch.
the control and the place. He knew what he was going to do with that ball. He's just
could
in
have
a
scored
world
that
of his
trick, by
own.
the way. Yeah,
Wow.
he hit the post.
Yeah,
And-
he
and
did.
That was, I thought maybe that was going to, because that would have been the third time that that Liverpool are coming from behind to defeat Newcastle at home, and it is a Premier League classic. I remember when Newcastle were close to winning the Premier League in the late 90s,
And then Newcastle came out of nowhere.
No, the Newcastle were close to winning the title. They fluffed their
I think that was under Kevin Keegan.
Yes, after leading Liverpool. So there's this neck and neck with Liverpool, and fortunately for Newcastle, they picked up a very late equalizer.
He delivered one of the games of the season yesterday, no doubt about that. Alexander Isak, I remember Akintayo said it that if he gets into that game yesterday, it's going to be a constant thorn in the flesh of the Liverpool defense, and he scored one of the goals of the month so far, probably one of the goals of the season, a classic placing, and the guy is just so good, so slicky, and he sure knows how to get those quality goals. For Chelsea, away at Southampton, 5-1, massive result there, and of course, Enzo Maresca still keeps saying they are not ready to compete, they are not in the title mix, but they are second on the table with just 7 points adrift of Liverpool. Well, you're alone, truly. There's also Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium, 2-0 in favor of Arsenal, and there's been a lot of issues there, maybe corner kicks, this and that. I started watching, I tuned in before the game started, and I saw Manchester United defenders practicing how to defend corner kicks before the game kicked off. But guess what? When the game started, they considered 13 corner kicks. They didn't get a single corner kick, and guess what? They considered, in fact, they should have considered about 4. Partey missed a clean one. Moreno also came in and missed one as well. And of course, 2 defenders in Timber and Saliba are getting those 2 goals.
And goal too as well from Ziggy.
Exactly.
It could have been 5.
He just somehow got so. Corner kicks were problems.
Corner.
They keep on cutting corners.
They were
Arsenal could not attack them properly, and they decided to take corners.
We also talk about the dark heart conversation. People saying that. I mean, I saw Amorim and he said the difference in the game were corner kicks, and I'm like, how am I supposed to get 13 corners and you do expect me to score at least 1 or 2? Stop conceding corners.
You know how dangerous they had
to even make matters worse for Manchester United, the second goal was caused with Marcus Rashford conceding a corner. He wanted to do a flick on Martin Odegaard, but unfortunately that could not come off.
He slipped. He slipped.
You know, Marcus Rashford.
He was cornered.
He was cornered at the corner flag.
Exactly. Aston Villa also returned to winning ways. They've not won a Premier League match. They've not won in all competition in 7 games. And of course, they got a win for themselves yesterday.
A beautiful win against
Brentford. A tough and very unpredictable team.
Before the hour of 60, it was already 3-0, and it was as if that Brentford just came to just come and observe the Midlands.
Well, we also saw games in the Spanish La Liga yesterday. Athletic Club Bilbao defeating Real Madrid at the Cathedral by 2-1. That's their first win in a very long time. Of course, in Copa del Rey, there was a win for SD Huesca against Gimnast. That's in the round 2 of the Copa del Rey. And of course, St. Andrew lost at home against Real Betis by 3-1. Unionista Salamanca lost at home 3-2 to Rayo Vallecano. Cadiz and CD and Dens. Cadiz lost at home. Corrense versus Deportivo La Coruña. They knocked out Deportivo La Coruña. Racing Santander also defeated Sporting Gijon yesterday. There was win for Valencia away at Agia. There's also a goalless draw, and Girona were defeated by Logorens yesterday via penalty. Fourth year Spanish team. That's crazy, my friend. Villarreal also got defeated by Pontevedra. How were these results even possible?
Shocking result yesterday.
Absolutely shocking result. Empoli knocked out Fiorentina at home after a round of 16 of the Coppa d'Italia. 2-2. It ended in regulation time, and of course, it got into the ballot of the penalties. Remember that Bayern were knocked out on Tuesday in the DFB Cup, and in the round of 16 yesterday, FC Cologne defeated Hertha Berlin by 2-1. Wolfsburg knocked out Hoffenheim by 3-0. Karlsruhe SC versus Augsburg played a 2-1, and Augsburg won that one via penalty. And RB Leipzig bounced up from their disastrous defeat at home this weekend by defeating entrenched Frankfurt by 3-0. Those were the games that were decided in the major leagues across Europe yesterday. For today, by 8:30 at the Craven Cottage against Brighton, it is Fulham, wanting to bounce back after their defeat at the weekend also. So there's going to be 8:30 kickoff at Craven Cottage. And of course, by 9:15, there is a visit to Bournemouth by Tottenham Hotspur. That will be by 9:15. So you mean is back in the silence here, and Postecoglou will be able to, pick up. Because you look at Tottenham Hotspur, you defeated Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium, and then you drew your next game. That's so much inconsistency with that side. one moment you think they are the best team in London, and then the next moment you can't just find them. You can't just find them. That's exactly who they are. Osasuna would also be playing away at AD Quetta by 7 p.m. in the Copa del Rey. There's also Atletico Madrid away at Cacareno by 9 p.m. as well. Getafe will be traveling to Ruela by 7 p.m. rather. Racing de Ferrol will be hosting Baracodi by 8 p.m. I mean, those are the games that will be decided. Real Sociedad would also be playing against Consequence. I hope it's the Consequence, by the way, by 9 p.m. And Deportivo Alaves would also be playing against Deportivo Minera. Sevilla will be playing JᴏɪＲ. All of those games will be played by 9 p.m. In the Copa, the Italian round of 16, big game, 9 p.m. There is Napoli that will be traveling away to Lazio. Big game. No doubt about that, guys. But guys, let's quickly run through some quick analysis of the game yesterday. Manchester City, before the win yesterday, nobody ruled Man City out. And early this morning, I stumbled on something on internet, and after yesterday's win, people were being asked who can compete with Liverpool for the Premier League title. About 15 people, and 9 of them said Manchester City. 9 of them said Manchester City. Akintola, let me start from you. That yesterday win was an emphatic win. Is that a turning point for Manchester City? Bearing it in mind that Pep Guardiola went back to his trusted players, his best players actually. He brought in Kevin De Bruyne on that pitch, expecting him to do his magic. Last 2 seasons, when Jack Grealish first got to Manchester City, he played against all of the big teams, every single one of them. He brought Jack Grealish on the game yesterday, allowed the boys to do their thing, and they delivered. Although Jack Grealish is yet to score a single goal in the entire 2024. How much of a corner do you think Man City had turned with that yesterday's game?
Well, they needed it, and just like Pep Guardiola said yesterday, that the only difference between today and other games is the win, and I guess that's the honest truth, because it's not as if they've not been trying to create something, but the issue is putting the ball behind the net. And one of the things that has made Manchester City,
but they've been offering some games.
No, I'm talking
really
defensively. I'm talking about attacking wise. I'm talking about attacking wise. Defensively, they have been everywhere, and that is why Goodwin has been under fire. And when you look at what happened yesterday is that, kudos to Nottingham Forest. They didn't respect Manchester City much, in as much as they decided to just play a bit deeper and try to eat Manchester City on the counter. They had 1 or 2 chances, and in football and in life as well.
Yeah, if they've taken the chance,
Chris Wood.
If Wood had taken that chance, because it was about a minute after, it was Kevin De Bruyne that gave the ball away to Wood, and it was the same Kevin De Bruyne about crazy transition. About 90 seconds after he went to score that goal.
Because if that goal had gone in, what would have happened? Would it have affected the nerves of the players as well as the fans? Because now you start thinking of, this is what have been happening for the past 6-7 games. And we saw Manchester City yesterday. The senior players decided to take matters into their hands, and you have to give respect to Kevin De Bruyne. He came in. It was just the player, was just the missing link that he needed. Even against Liverpool, he was also the one that gave a sniff at goal, because he was the one that applied the pressure that made Van Dijk try to misplace the ball with him before he was unable to slot the ball past Keller. And we saw what happened yesterday. It was everywhere. We saw Doku. At least this time around, his end game or his end product was better.
It was decisive.
And the reason why Foden could not play was Foden was a bit ill, and Jack Grealish has been playing with and also with his birth of his child. So I think there has been a lot going on for Jack Grealish. And for Kyle Walker, I was glad he did not start yesterday. He came in the second half for Akanji, because Akanji too has been everywhere. Akanji has been making some silly mistakes. He made some against Tottenham as well, and that has been a problem for Manchester City. Vardiol and Akanji, they've been culpable at just losing concentration. We saw Vardiol yesterday. It appears as if he was just the 3rd or 4th attacking player. He kept on going in. He fluffed some of his chances when he had the chance, but you just have to give kudos to the players that they just decided to put what had happened in the past few games behind them, and they focused on yesterday and the opponents. And it was a great win, even though I didn't give them a chance to win based on form. I said yesterday that it's going to be a 55-45 for Nottingham Forest, and yesterday we saw Manchester City take a huge turn. I hope and I pray that they are going to take the next win against Crystal Palace. Because if they do not, now the doubts start creeping in, and when you are going into December crazy fixtures, because now you start playing almost every 2 days, you are possibly to play 4-5 games in the space of 7 days, and you need everyone to be fresh and fit, and Manchester City need their senior players and senior citizens to come on board.
Absolutely. I mean, talking about the senior citizens coming from the citizens, let's see how they'll be able to build up on the win of yesterday at Selhurst Park against a Crystal Palace that you don't see. They're like biscuits. You don't know what part of them that would break, and on their day they can be devastating. Absolutely. But let's look at the next game. That's a 3-3 draw that we saw at St. James's Park. See, I was pretty certain that Liverpool were going to drop point yesterday. And at the time when Salah got that goal to take them 3-2 up, I was telling myself, like, wow, I hope I'm not going to swallow my words on this one. And before I knew what was happening, because I was streaming Arsenal's game, I was watching Man City Nottingham Forest, and I was shuttling between those games and Sky Sport News. They were giving update of every other game, and I just saw that, oh, what a goal! And I'm like, I thought it was Liverpool that had extended the lead to 4, and then I quickly went back to it, and I'm like, oh, it's 3-3, and then I saw it. Liverpool have been on a devastating run, both in the Premier League, and I mean, imagine having to have lost a game and draw a game, and you're still 7 points ahead in the Premier League. A loss against Nottingham Forest, a draw yesterday. That means they've been playing some beautiful level of football. And for a team that has one of the meanest defense in the league this season, before the draw against Arsenal, they've conceded only 2 goals. And after that, they've conceded only 4 in all competition. But guess what? They conceded 3 yesterday night away at Newcastle. Agbatomi, is that a reality check for Liverpool that, you know what, it is going to be a roller coaster and not sweet sailing?
Yeah, obviously. Everyone knew that game between Liverpool and Newcastle was going to be a form of acid fest for Liverpool.
But you thought it was going to be a win straight away for you?
No. I didn't think of anything of such, because the last game as well, if you also recall, last season, in the previous game as well last season at the St. James Park as well, it was Darwin Núñez that gave Liverpool the win in that particular one, coming off the bench, to secure victory, and that was after Virgil van Dijk got the red card. We also had Newcastle also leading that particular game as well, and you know what? When Alexander Isak as well, scored last night, I was like, come on, we are probably going to be seeing a repeat of what was going to happen. And the first 45 minutes of game, it was all Newcastle through. Newcastle were imposing. They showed their physicality. They were taller than the players for Liverpool. And in the second half, Curtis Jones rather got the equalizer, and I felt like, okay, you know what? There's a possibility that we might be getting something from this game. But Mohamed Salah doing what he does every time, getting 2 goals as well in that particular game, could have gotten a hat-trick in that particular one. Scored 2 goals as well in that particular game, and everyone thought that was going to be the end of the game. But unfortunately, Cœur had other plans. I think that was a game that he ought to have, handled, as well as try much as possible to waste time. But he thought that ball was going to go behind the goalpost, but then there was Fabian Schär right there who had to turn the ball in. So, of course, it was a reality check for Liverpool, and that obviously does not mean that Liverpool are not going to continue their massive, impressive form as well. The next game against Everton is going to be a very, very huge game. Early kickoff game is going to start by 1:30, and even the last game the last Merseyside derby, right there as well. So let's just see how all of that is going to unfold, and maybe Liverpool should be able to win the next round of games. Hopefully, Okoyemi.
Okay, let me come back to you, Akintayo. Manchester United play Nottingham Forest next. And, that was yesterday's loss was the first since the let go of Erik ten Hag. And in that process, they played 8 games in all competitions. They've had 6 wins and 2 draws. 5 wins, 2 draws, and of course, yesterday's loss under 2 different managers. But hey, first loss for Ruben Amorim. You could complain for all he cares, but hey, you just played against a team that have scored 23 goals from set pieces since the start of 2023-2024 season. I mean, that's crazy. They've scored how many goals now from set pieces? The highest in the entire top 5 leagues in Europe. So you always know that corners are like own goals or penalties for Arsenal right now. You look at their. We're going to talk about Arsenal, but let's talk about Manchester United. Maybe you could make an excuse that there were signs of improvement in their performance. This is the first time Arsenal were going to beat Man U 4 times on the bounce. In fact, Man U have not won in the league at the Emirates Stadium since 2017. All the other, wins had come from cup games. Where do you place Ruben Amorim in the league of what is being brought in to do at Manchester United? Maybe it's too early though, but then the early signs. What do you make of that?
We need to also consider the fact that Amorim is coming in. The players are just coming back to fitness. They have been niggling. They have been, Bruno Fernandes was removed against Everton, so as for him to remain fresh. And it was a doubt before this game, and eventually he played 90 minutes. We saw Mazraoui taking off as early as the 50-something minutes against Everton, and the manager had spoken after the game and even before the game and maintained the fact that due to his demands, that they need to keep the players fresh and they need to rotate more. And the rotation that he did yesterday was more than the rotate. The last time they had that amount of rotation in the squad was when Manchester United played their last home game last season, before playing the FA Cup final against Manchester City that they won. So it shows that the manager just decided to just rest some players, try to give some players more energy. We saw Malaysia, it dealt very well against Saka, but we saw that it was withdrawn after the halftime. When Amad Diallo, perhaps maybe the only issue that I have is if Amad Diallo had started, would it have been a different approach to Zinchenko? Because I know that if Diallo had started, Zinchenko would have little or nothing to do to stop Diallo. But guess what? If Diallo had started, would they have dominated as they dominated when Mount was playing? That is left to be seen. Because when Mount was removed, it means that they don't have that dominance. They don't have that extra man in midfield. Now they brought in 4 different sets of attackers. They brought in Anthony, they brought in Ziggy, they brought in Rashford, they brought in Diallo. And that means that you have 4 different attacks. So what happens to the midfield? What happens to the defense? That's why when you look at that game, the only real chance that they had yesterday was that set piece that was delivered that was close to an inch perfect cross,
and the save was even more exquisite.
Exactly, and to me that's the save of the month. Even though it's just one of the first few games of the new month, but that's the save of the month. And you could see perhaps maybe if the ball from Bruno Fernandes had more pace, maybe Delete would have actually had more power, but he was able to generate more power. But it was a brilliant save. We can't take the save away from Raya. But Manchester United, it's still the early days, but at least we can see improvement. Trust me. Yesterday when I was watching that game and I could feel the pulse of Arsenal fans, they were distorted yesterday about what they were seeing. It was not what they were used to, because in previous seasons, as we have seen under Ole and as well as under Ten Hag, what Manchester United do whenever they are playing against the big six is they decide to play on the counter. And yesterday was a different ball game. We saw them nullify one of the key players for Arsenal, which is Odegaard. We saw them nullify Saka as well and just restrict them to set pieces. And if you keep on practicing set pieces, it's for the aim that you'll be able. It's not just about practicing set pieces. It's to ensure that you limit the amounts of set pieces that you concede, because you are trying to defend the ball. Now your eyes is in 2 places. You are after the man and you're also after the ball. And those that are attacking you, their eyes is just on one position, and that is for the ball, which means it is 2 against 1. And we could see yesterday the first goal was a near post cross by Rice, and guess what? For the second goal by Saka, it was a back post cross, which means that Manchester United are prepared for the ball to be played at the near post. They were more centralized close to the near post, but guess what? Partey did not even join others in trying to.
He just waited for the ball to come up, and he knew what he was going to do. He was the last player to make the run.
All he needed to do was just not the ball,
get the ball back in there,
and he did that.
And there was so much power.
Unfortunately
he
for
hit the backside of Saliba.
He hit the backside of. How many times you get to see that? It's very rare. And Saliba got the win, but it sees a sign of improvement. At least Manchester United they are not scared to play anyone. They are trying to hold dominance. And guess what? From now to the end of season, we are going to see a much more rejuvenated and a much more fearful United, just as we saw under Sir Alex Ferguson.
Well, we'll open the phone lines and take your responses to some of the issues that we've been discussing on the show. But before the game yesterday, a Manchester United fan tweeted and he said, "Oh, when we beat Arsenal tonight and beat Nottingham Forest, put our name in the title mix." Now they've lost yesterday. But before yesterday's loss, they were just 5 points adrift of their city rival, Manchester City. But now it is 8 points. Agbatomi, let me ask you. You look at Man U, and then you look at the weight of expectation that comes with any manager that comes up on board. Ruben Amorim came in well decorated. He's done so much for sports.
His first loss for the year.
For the year. That's the first time he's losing a game in 2024. And I mean, you could agree that he lost to a team that was superior, especially development in the last few years. But let's look at Arsenal. Arsenal seems to have found a way to score when the regular way is not happening. Last season, they scored about 90-something goals without a out-and-out striker. This season, they've also started. In the last 10 days, Arsenal have scored 15 goals. 3 against Nottingham Forest, 5 away at Sporting, 5 away at West Ham, and 2 yesterday night. And in those games, there have been goals from set pieces. We saw Gabriel against Sporting, 2 goals from set pieces again yesterday. Is this Arteta making himself unpredictable when it comes to the times where games are not going according to plans, Agbatomi?
Yeah, that's very, very important. I mean, you have to try as much as possible to find ways to win. Just like you mentioned, whenever the normal way of scoring, maybe try as much as possible to pass, find your nearest man is not working, then you try the next available way of scoring, and you have to.
But it looks like people can't even find them out. It's just like Luis Figo's penalty. You know where Figo will play that penalty, but you can't catch it.
Exactly. That's just the thing, Okwemi. Yesterday against Manchester United, despite the absence of the usual suspect in person of Gabriel Magalhaes, everyone was thinking that, you know what, Arsenal we're not going to continue with their usual set pieces practice. But in his absence, Thomas Partey tried was the decoy in that particular game against Manchester United. But you also have to give massive credit as well to what's his name now? Try much as possible to remember his name. The set piece coach of Arsenal. Jovich, exactly. That guy has done really well for Arsenal, as well as Arsenal has also scored 100 goals in the year 2024, and I think about 30 thereabout have been from set pieces. So massive difference it can prove for Arsenal, and I think see, Okwemi. You know what next. Whenever either Rice is going to take the corner or maybe Saka, you know the routine they're going to be coming up with. But then the difficulty is trying as much as possible to defend it. And bad luck as well to Manchester United yesterday. Marcus Rashford wanting to do the flick on Martin Odegaard, which unfortunately he could not pull out. But then they scored for me. So
I think yes, you may agree that Salah is the best player in the league right now. You can still argue with that as well. But you look at the run of Arsenal, 4 wins in the last 4 games. A team that had only 2 wins in the previous 5. Now they have 4 wins in the last 4 games. And all of those 4 wins have come with the return of Martin Odegaard. Exceptional. Against West Ham, I mean, it was everywhere. He got a penalty in that game. And yesterday, yet again. How key? See, Saka is the star boy. Is the poster boy. Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, they're forming a strong defense. But how do you place the role of Odegaard in this Arsenal side?
For every team, there's always one special player. And that special player, to me, the most important player for Arsenal is still Martin Odegaard.
I tell you for
without
a fact,
Saka, Martin Odegaard is fit. Every other
the
player,
team can still do well.
They will still do well. Trossard can still play from the other position, because what it does is he unlocks the defense, because it gives some passes. His passes are so weighted. It's so similar to the way Iniesta or sometimes Messi gives his weighted passes. You just, when the pass comes through as an attacker, you just know that it's either you hit it once, you don't need to take too many touches.
You don't have to decide what you want to do. You have to be instinctive with your decision.
And you know, he had similar one yesterday where he gave the ball
that
to
almost
Saka,
pulled off.
but Saka was actually offside. He came in and he made that brilliant. He didn't even make any touch. He just had to hit the ball once, and those are the kind of ball that you need from your playmaker. And that is why one of my junior brother at home, Adeleke, keeps on saying that he's always a bargain. It's as if that he came in the night and they poured dry pepper on Florentino Perez.
How did you let go of that player?
They got him for £35 million.
That is like the cheapest steal in world football the last 10 years.
See, I can't see Phantom Adi allow him go for £35 million. Even though that he was not getting he had already won the Champions League. He has won everything to win as a football player for Real Madrid. Perhaps he decided that, you know what, I don't want to be a bench player. I know what I can. This is a player that I've observed throughout the 2015-2016 season when he was at Stromsters. He was the captain for Stromsters at the age of 16, and that tells you a lot. I'm not sure you could remember, or I'm not sure if you're on head that year when he was given the captain armband, and we had to discuss it on this table. I think like 2 or 3 years ago, we had to discuss on the table that why are they giving the armband that he's still young, that the other senior players in the team, and it was
the deal breaker that season for them.
And I said that this is a player that has been the captain for his club side when he was at the age of 16. I don't think he's new to pressure,
and he has carried himself well at Arsenal.
See, he's the most
let me hold your thoughts. Let me hold your thoughts. Let's talk to Umi. Hello, Umi.
Hello, gentlemen in the studio.
Good to have you.
Yeah, I doff my heart for every one of you guys.
Thank you very much.
You are the best. May the Lord continue to keep it for us.
Amen.
See, just as you said, you know, oftentimes in logic, you can always draw the conclusion of an argument from the premise of that argument. Imagine this hypothetical scenario, whereby you say that Manchester City, just as you guys have said, indicating whereby they just have to meet Liverpool yesterday. Let's put Liverpool in the position of Nottingham Forest yesterday or Arsenal. Either of those two crack teams. Did you think that you would have turned the corner yesterday? Your guess is as good as mine. Then on Odegaard, it speaks to the particular mindset of Ancelotti. Ancelotti is the kind of coach that has this futuristic mind, that you see that because it's a body star. You know that Tony Cruz, you don't think that he's not going to be there forever. And Modric is aging. You cannot have a backup, and you sold it for cheap, and for four clubs at Arsenal. You understand? And then you not pretend as you don't know that you have lost a body star, and that's the mindset of Ancelotti. And this is why I will never forgive Ancelotti for this. That's my conclusion, gentlemen.
To be honest, I feel Odegaard is the player that Real Madrid is actually missing at
now.
The moment. They don't have that. They've tried Adegula in that position. He has not delivered, probably because he has not been playing consistently. They need that player that could give those weighted passes to either Rodrigo, to Mbappe, or to Vinicius. Bellingham is not that player. He will give you his most, but he's not that player that can dictate tempo. Odegaard dictates tempo. He calls for the ball. He receives the ball as well. And he can as well take set pieces. He can cross. He can take penalties, and he can as well take free kicks. So that is a player that I feel
breaking that according to a new system that is being considered by football lawmakers, referees would award corner kicks to the opposing team if a player fails to release the ball within a reasonable time frame. So rather than giving goalkeepers yellow card for time wasting, they will consider it. They will consider it corner. So I think that message should be specifically explained to Nwabali. He's the king. He's the king of time wasting. Hello, Anome.
Hello, good evening.
You're welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening, you're welcome.
You know, when I heard the last analysis about Odegaard, do you think Madrid are missing Odegaard? No. Do you think Madrid are regretting, let me just put the right word, are they regretting letting Odegaard go? No. Madrid will lose in Madrid. Let's just forget about that one. They will get somebody in that line. They will get a player within a year or two that's much better than him. Odegaard, we cannot do successful to Odegaard. He has improved. At least year by year, he's been improving. You know, and has been a key player for us now. So that is regardless of that. So about yesterday's match, you know, what I see from a United fan point of view, I saw patterns. I saw how United can play a game without being predictable. You understand? I don't think I will just stop there. but it's a light at the end of the tunnel for United.
Yeah.
As from the fan point of view.
I agree.
Good of us now, they want the game from a tactical point of view. That will be all.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Onome. Keep your calls coming in 09136000410. Stephen Olawore on Facebook says, I think Spurs are good at defending struggling teams. They did the same thing with Manchester United, only to go on and lose to Brighton. Well, I mean, did you just call Manchester United struggling? That's some shade, man. Okay. A Glorious Crown says, Man City truly back to winning ways. 9 points gap between Liverpool and Man City is not enough to ride them off. The giant of Manchester from winning the English Premier League title. Thank you very much from Glorious Crown. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good to have you join us.
Agbatayo.
I doff my heart for you.
Agbatomi go.
I did hear Dampi.
You see the nurse wound.
Up Liverpool.
For life. For life. For life. Never walk alone.
No more Farmers League and Farmers Cup for Real Madrid.
At all.
No more Farmers Cup for Man City anymore. Sorry to upset you, but I'm sorry. I need to say my mind. I'm sorry. Well, I'm enjoying you guys. I must say the fact. Agbatayo, anytime you don't come, Omo, anytime Okpem you don't come, anytime you are not three, you guys are good. I just want to.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. 09136000410. You're live from Mainland 98.3 FM. And it is Sports Cruise. And let's get this done. I said it earlier before. I think it was on my previous show, on my last show before this one. I said I could be in a good mood. And then I could be wired up for some giveaways tonight. But of course, I'm exempting the guys in the studio.
Why?
Let me take this call from Uche, then I'll give you my question real quick. Hello, Uche. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good to have you join us.
So, for yesterday's game, I understand one thing about that United game yesterday. Because other teams, they are not doing this thing. When you look at Arsenal, when they are going to play in a corner, we see all their players will be guarding keeper, or something like that. Because if you watch that yesterday game, if not because of those experiences that they have already have for playing corner kick. Because when they are playing corner kick, they will block keeper. Keeper will not see chance to catch the ball. So that's the problem that Man United have yesterday. And if not because of David Raya, United is supposed to draw. And DJ Spino yesterday, he really missed one chance. When
DJ Spino?
Yes. He missed
yes, he missed that pass from that free kick.
Yes, and there is I told you guys that Liverpool is going to struggle against Newcastle, and I know that match is never going to be easy for them. And so this Premier League.
Thank you very much. How did you?
I'm still trying. I'm trying to remember him spinning. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Nigerians don't have joy.
If he didn't make mention of that chance that he missed,
you would have known who was talking about.
Like, I just remember that there was one.
There was a game he was spinning around and then he lost the ball.
Yeah, he does that.
That was when we called it Pokoli. But another one.
He does leg work. That's Anthony. He does leg work. But
he could have done better with that chance because it was a well-drilled
free kick.
See, it was a weighted pass from Bruno. Perhaps he could have tried to hit the ball with his laces
and see how far the ball can
go. He tried to hit the ball with his side.
Hello, good evening, Adewale.
Good evening.
You're welcome.
My name is Adewale. As a Manchester United fan, I don't talk him. Even for sport banter, I don't say them. Last time, get work to do against Man U. I don't get anything to lose. Because they are not rebuilding the team. It's I'm sure those players, I don't talk this team many times. Some players will come more for that next season. They plenty. Even if they don't come out, we will kick them out. But they don't want the pattern we want to play. Now skill. Out of those players, if they within that man won't play. For Madrid, this one way happy the lost penalties.
I can't hear you. I cannot hear you.
Why? Why did you do that?
It's my show.
Why?
I was struggling to hear when he was talking of Man U, so that was where it ended.
Of one thing I was impressed that he did was actually.
Adewale.
You can hear me now.
The network went bad now.
It's not funny at all. for Mbappe. Champions League, he lost penalty. They give another one again. He still lost them.
All in the same
I
way.
don't let that guy near penalty. I know that sometimes if you go to another team, if you give up, they need to. If you went to Madrid when they signed Modric, they were calling the guy the worst signing for Madrid.
But look at how well he's done.
Look at how. So if the guy keep it up where side through training, they last for training, they resume to training first, and maybe it will catch up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yinka Walo is also trying to talk to us. That will be the last call on the show today. We'll press for time. Hello, Yinka.
Yeah, good evening.
Good to have you join us.
Yeah, Ola Yinka Walo. Yeah, you just I like the way you guys were showering and comments on Odegaard. But you guys have not talked about the player in Timber. What do you make of his performance so far?
It's probably going to be, I don't know where I place Timber, but you look at how much he was bought. You look at the fact that he got injured on his first game for Arsenal, and then he didn't come back until the last 13 minutes of the last game of the season. It doesn't look to me like a player that had a whole season out with ACL. He's been phenomenal for Arsenal, Kintayo.
And one thing that I've been impressed by Amorim was the fact that he actually dropped Marcus Rashford, Dr. Marcus Rashford, OBE. He dropped him, and I'm actually impressed. And to me, that signals to me a manager that is ready to take difficult decisions, and he took one yesterday. And when you take such decisions and it does not favor you, you should be the one to be at the end of the barrel.
Okay, how do you drop a player that managed to get to a brace over the course of the weekend for a big game against Arsenal? That I thought was overthinking on the part of Ruben Amorim.
Ruben Amorim took some needless decisions.
He had already made mention of the fact
if
that
it's not broken, don't fix it. You had a good game against
Everton.
Everton.
Scored 2 goals for you against Everton. Marcus Rashford as well scored 2 gours for you against Everton. What else should you have done?
No, we can't make that, because if we say that argument, we can also make argument for Oiland. Oiland played a great game against Bodo Glimt in Europa League. Guess what? He didn't even start. I'm not sure he even played up to 20 minutes against Everton. And someone that came in actually stepped up and scored 2 goals. Perhaps he rested him for Arsenal.
I really don't understand his decision to bench Garnacho for Rashford.
You can't compare the transition of Bodo Glimt to Everton from Everton to Arsenal.
I will play Rashford ahead of Garnacho.
That is.
Yes,
Rashford has record against Arsenal.
He
always scores against Arsenal when he starts.
His professional debut,
2 goals and an assist against
Arsenal.
Arsenal, even as a 90-year-old or thereabout. Guys, we've come to the end of the show. It's a Thursday edition, and I'm sure you've had fun. We've also had fun. Thank you to everyone that reached out. A big shout out to Akintayo and Agbatomi for coming through always. Tomorrow is Friday, same time, same station. Don't forget to keep your dial locked only on mainland 98.3 FM. And hey, it's going to be good games, no doubt about that. Yeah, games tonight in the Premier League. I don't miss it. Fulham at Craven Cottage versus Brighton, and Bournemouth will be hosting Tottenham Hotspur. Stay safe.
It's going to be a beautiful
and
game.
Keep your dial locked only on mainland 98.3. My name is Okpayemi, the host with the most. Akinade. Join me again tomorrow, same station. Bye for now.